All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight for our FarmFlix 2025 interest session. We're so excited for y'all to get involved into this competition and get all the information you need to have a successful FarmFlix video this year. So a few housekeeping items for the night. Please make sure to utilize the chat or raise your hands to submit your questions. We'd, of course, love to see your faces. It's easier to interact and talk to a room of people if I can see the room of people. But if you're not able to, we completely understand. This also will have some discussion opportunities throughout the session. So if you have questions, please feel free to get off mute then, or just wait till those discussion opportunities. We'll be having a Q&A at the end of the session with our past winners, so you can ask all the insights and figure out how they were able to do successful videos. Also, the slides and recordings will be made available on the webinar page next week, and it'll also be put on the APhA ASP YouTube account. So if you have any webinar that you missed this year, please know you can always go to our YouTube page to find all of them. All right, so today's agenda, we'll be talking about what is FarmFlix, what the requirements for your video will be, what the awards process looks like, some tips and tricks from some winners and from our communication standing committee, and advice from past winners. So what is FarmFlix? FarmFlix was launched in 2009 as a PSA competition, or a public service announcement competition. It's a chance for student pharmacists to showcase their professionalism while also expressing creativity by creating short-form content. The video requirements for this year is similar to last year. You need to make sure to be relevant to this year's theme being proud to be pharmacy. You'll need to also incorporate into your video 3 components that have to be in every single video for it to be eligible for review. That being your school's name, APhA ASP somewhere written or verbally stated in the video, and also verbalizing or somewhere writing down this year's theme being proud to be pharmacy. The video needs to be 90 seconds or less, and this is a hard cutoff. If it is 91 seconds, 92 seconds, I will reach back out to you to see if we can trim any of it. And if that's not as possible, the video is ineligible for review. It also has to be uploaded to YouTube and be put on not family friendly or kids version. When it's like that, we actually can't review and add it to a playlist. So please make sure it's for regular reviewing, not for kids only. It also needs to include the hashtag APhA, APhASP, FarmFlix, and your chapter's name. Please also utilize the provided logos in the appropriate APhA logo and this year's FarmFlix theme logo. They'll be both put on the website, so you can download both logos and add them on there. If you have any issues using the files that are uploaded on the website, please let us know and we'll be happy to help you get access to it. So for this year's, how are you going to be demonstrating proud to be pharmacy? We always want our chapters to be very creative and use whatever works for them. The theme of this year was to showcase, why are you in pharmacy? Why is your chapter wanting to pursue pharmacy school, and what are pharmacists capable of doing? For the past few years, pharmacy has gotten a little bit of a bad rap, and the public may not know what pharmacists are capable of doing and how much of an intervention pharmacists have made in their everyday lives. This is your opportunity to showcase to the public what a pharmacy is capable of doing and why you're choosing to pursue this career. So there's some guidance you can do, think about as you're trying to come up with your ideas within this theme. So this year's theme, as I said, is proud to be pharmacy. This is the logo that you'll be utilizing and showcasing during your video. Please make sure to know that you can
I
either
forgot I have a meeting for a second. Oh my God.
So we'll be utilizing this theme, proud to be pharmacy, within your video. Please make sure to use either this logo or saying verbally proud to be pharmacy in your theme. We had some chapters last year who forgot this aspect and they added it on. That's completely okay. It can happen, but it's really easy to forget this small aspect, but it's one of the key components you need to be eligible for review. So if you have any questions accessing this, please let us know and we'll be happy to help you out. So you may be asking yourself, this is my first time doing FarmFlix. What does it look like? Well, let me talk to you about the award selection process. Similar to last year, there's going to be 3 categories, but this year there's a new category. This year we'll have most creative, most humorous, and most inspirational. In years past, it was most humorous, most inspirational, and best overall. We have made this change to allow for more chapters to be recognized. So whenever you submit your video, you'll let us know kind of what category you're petitioning for. You can go for all 3. You can say, we want to go for all 3 categories, or, we're really focused on most inspirational. They'll then be reviewed by our member engagement standing committee and our communication standing committee. And depending on where you want to get placed, And then the top 5 of every single category will be showcased at annual meeting. If you're not really sure what category your video falls into, do not worry. Just put all 3 and let us do the work on figuring out where it best fits. Because the goal is to showcase as many chapters as possible. Now, if you are selected for one of the categories, say you thought we're fantastic for most humorous, you will not see the video pop up on most creative or most inspirational. That's just to allow us to share the wealth a little bit and get as many chapters showcased as possible. If you have any questions on how the selection is determined, please reach out to myself or any of the member engagement standing committee members or communication standing committee members, and we'll be happy to help you. So you may be asking, all right, so what's the prize? Well, one thing is getting to know that your video is going to be showcased at Annual Meeting 2026 in Los Angeles, California. You'll see your video placed on the big screen where hundreds and thousands of student pharmacists and pharmacy personnel will be able to see your video, and this will be showcased with our corporate supporter to show all the amazing things our student pharmacists are doing. The winners of each of the categories will receive a trophy on the final night at the APhA ASP award ceremony at Annual Meeting. The winners all will also have their videos showcased again on the big screen as you're accepting your award. They'll also have a social media post and be highlighted throughout the year, as you'll see some of our winners being highlighted today. So important dates to keep in mind. Right now we're having our webinar, which actually luckily is a little bit earlier than we did last year to give you more time to prep for it. But no matter what, the deadline is December 1st, 11:59 p.m. Eastern or Pacific Standard Time for your submission dates. If you have any issues with the uploading, please reach out to me as soon as possible and we can talk about what's going on. But if you do not inform me of any issues happening with your upload process, that'll be the hard cutoff. After that, the Member Engagement Standing Committee and the Communication Standing Committee will be reviewing all of the videos through January and February, where then the top 5 of each category will be selected and announced prior to annual meeting. Then the entire House of Delegates will decide on the top winners at the House of Delegates at annual meeting and then be showcased later on that evening at the award ceremony. So now we're going to know some tips and tricks, and I'm going to tag team Charles Hang from the Communication Standing Committee to help me out.
Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to go over some tips and tricks to kind of set you guys up for success with creating your PharmFlix video. So with the theme of Proud to be Pharmacy, we really wanted you guys to have a really flexible theme to kind of go with whatever your heart desires for your PharmFlix submission. So really take that as you will, and then be as creative as possible. And then I really do recommend starting early. So creating signups and incentivizing your members at meetings to participate, having forms to fill out to kind of see if people are interested or want to be a part of the video, can incentivize them to want to be a part of it. Brainstorm ideas that what you want the video to look like. You can form a committee or delegate roles to any chairs or members in your organization to kind of help with that brainstorming process. One thing I do really recommend is getting the form signed before or during filming. This was something that I encountered when I was a comm VP that kind of was stressful towards the end, was trying to get everyone to fill out those forms. So the earlier you get the consent forms filled out, the less scrambling you'll have to do at the end. And planning is very important. So making sure that you're delegating and organizing everything accordingly. And as always, making sure that you're using the APhA style guide for any branding. So making sure that you're following the guidelines for the contest, as well as including the logos and any of those specific things that Parth was mentioning. And then as far as logistic issues with the video, so if you never made a movie or a video before, there's no big deal. Previous winners have been filmed using many different devices. So I offered a couple of ideas that you can have. So if you want to use a more high quality camera, a lot of school libraries may have that as a resource where you can check out camera equipment. Also, if you don't have that option, you can use your phone cameras, making sure that you're filming in 4K or the highest HD setting that you have so that it's super crisp. And then we also recommend avoiding filming outside or in any open, windy spaces, just so that there's not a lot of background noise. But also you can use voiceovers with your phone or a mini mic to kind of help with that sound quality. And then making sure that you're playing back the video and then asking for feedback. So once you're done with the first edit, I had so many drafts when I edited. So just asking for feedback from members of your leadership team or anybody that you trust to kind of give any constructive feedback on how the video looks and how it makes them feel. And then last and most important is have fun. That is absolutely reflected in the video when we watch it. So make sure you're having fun throughout the process with everybody that's involved.
Thank you for that, Charles. So now we're going to go into some commonly asked questions. So for those of you who this may be your first time getting involved into the FarmFlix video competition, you'll be like, all right, form, committees, recording, where do I even start? Well, first thing, let's hit on the requirements. Of course, we talk about the requirements of the video, the 90 seconds need to be saying these things. There's also written release forms that we need from everyone in the video. So this is a consent required so that we, of course, can make sure we're going through our due processes of security and whatnot. You'll find the forms online at the FarmFlix official page, which will be uploaded with all the updated information, including the theme, and the blurbs and this recording of the video, but you can already see our consent forms. So on there, download those and make sure everyone who's in the video writes that out. Now, if you have a crowd shot, that's a little bit different. That won't be required for everyone, but anyone who is speaking on camera or is just solo on the camera, that will be required from them. Now, if we have anyone who is a minor in the video, please, of course, make sure they have their legal guardian who presides over them is filling out that form. So if you choose to use any music in your video, we definitely encourage you to. It's a great way. We try to make sure that is royalty-free music. You can always look up online a list of songs that are royalty-free to add in there. Or if you use a song that you have connection to the owner of the song, as long as you have written approved permission from them, you'll list that out in your submission form and that'll be accepted. Now, I don't know if any of y'all know Beyonce, but if y'all know Beyonce, you can get approval. Go ahead, use Love on Top. Do what you want to. If you do, please contact me so then I can know Beyonce. But otherwise, please use music that you're accessible to. And yes, we have a note right here. Purchasing or downloading music does not give you the right to use it in a video. So just because you have things downloaded on through Spotify does not mean you can use it. So please make sure that you are doing things appropriate there. Last year, I had a few chapters use versions of songs. I'm like, you definitely can't use this. But then they did a cover and that was allowed. Alrighty. Next is if you're coming up, or you're struggling to come up with an idea. I know it can be very arduous to think through like what is going to hit, what is going to get people's attentions, and what's going to get our point across. Make sure to open it up to your entire chapter to help garner in ideas and intercessions. I would suggest to start early and develop a committee that will allow you to go through your ideas in your building stage, and then you can start that before you do your shooting. Now, if you are not really sure how to even kind of like focus on it, try hitting one of the three categories: most creative, most humorous, most inspirational. Try to figure out what you want to shoot for, and it'll help craft your idea. And also, if you're looking for some inspiration, we have all of the past winners and the past finalists for the past few years all on the website. So go look through some of our past recipients and see what they're able to come up with. Alrighty. So as I was talking about the FarmFlix homepage, you can always scan this QR code to get access to that page, or just look up APhA FarmFlix, and you'll always find it. Here you find example videos and additional information, including the release forms. You can find this updated with the webinar and the associated updated information next week. So if you have any issues accessing that, please let me know. Ooh, seems like we had a question, William.
Hi, Parth. Thank you so much. I appreciate you seeing that I raised my hand. A lot of times it goes really unnoticed.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it, Mr.
No
Patel.
problem.
I just wanted to ask regarding this page here. Would you say with someone like a horrible memory like mine, uh, if I ever forget every single word that you said and I only remember your beautiful face, that this QR code on the screen here is all the resources that I need to fulfill the criteria, see the requirements, get that, the branding correct this is the homepage for all of those resources, including the consent forms. Is that right?
Absolutely. Hit it right on the head.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel. I appreciate it.
Of course, happy to help. Happy to help. So if y'all have any issues accessing any of the forms or the components on this page, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. I oversee this page on our website, so I want to make sure you get all the resources that you need. Alrighty. So you've heard enough from me. I want to now open up the doors from our past winners. So please help me in congratulating and bringing to the theoretical stage our past winners. So from VCU or Virginia Commonwealth University, we have Rusha and Ashley. Coming also from Lipscomb University, we have Seth. And from University of Puerto Rico, we have Pamela. Thank you all for joining us and helping out. I know we're having some issues in the past, so if Purdue University is also here, also want to shout out Kennedy. So thank you all for our past winners who have done fantastic videos coming to come share their expertise and knowledge to you all. So as we're getting into our Q&A section here, I want to start out some general questions and then we'll open up the floor for any of our audience members to ask questions. So the first question being, how did you determine who would lead FarmFlix at your chapter? Seth, I'm going to toss that over to you first.
Okay. So as far as trying to figure, I guess, who specifically would lead, we kind of a more set up process because even though we did win last year, it was a very big learning process for us in terms of kind of organizing and making sure that we have a successful process for creating the FarmFlix video. But pretty early on, we kind of identified some lead writers for in terms of our script, and then we've kind of lumped it under the communications VP's responsibilities for being involved in the project and also kind of organizing the people to be involved in it, getting signups and that sort of thing. So it's kind of been lumped under the responsibilities of our communications VP. But I think just early on, announcing, as an opportunity to be involved and kind of recruiting interest, you can easily designate someone if you don't have a communications VP or you just have someone different in mind that's really interested in this. And even just showing like the videos that we've mentioned, the like past winners is a good way to kind of attract interest as well, I would say.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for that. Pamela, Rusha, Ashley, is that kind of similar to what y'all did at your chapters?
Yeah, kind of. The communications VP is always the one that leads the project, but our advisor always helps a lot. And some of our professors and just like our members, you just have to identify who, like is interested, I think so. But I think there will always be someone that wants to help.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And I assume VC kind of has a similar kind of model with having the comms VP or committee kind of formed to help with FarmFlix.
Yeah, our story was actually a little bit different. We did have a FarmFlix committee, and I filled out the Google form, but I actually was not an exec member yet last year, but I just had an interest in media production, so I decided to take the leadership with that. It was a joint project with Lou Jane, who was president-elect at the time, and she's here. So basically, she made the group me and she helped me recruit the people for the video, and we dropped all the forms in there and reminders of telling people what to wear and just polling people to figure out when we would actually film our video, and also just brainstorming and just hearing all the different perspectives to help conceptualize our video.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. See, FarmFlix is a great opportunity to not only tap into our current executive members, but also see if anyone has interest and give them an opportunity to get more plugged in and also get them more comfortable with what's happening at APHA nationally. So thank you all for sharing. So next question I have is, how did you develop your ideas for FarmFlix? And we'll go in a little bit reverse order here. So Ashley, if you want to take us away, how'd you come up with that great idea that literally inspired so many of us?
I'm gonna let Rusha take this one, actually.
Okay.
We juggled with like a bunch of ideas from doing music videos to funny skits, but we decided to ultimately develop a commercial that would demonstrate the impact that pharmacists can make in the community to leave the viewers inspired. That was our main goal, to inspire, like you talked about in the beginning part. It worked out in our favor because we were already planning a diabetes walk in our community, in the Richmond community, and providing free vaccinations. So that helped, give a candid shot of the event and the community and how we're trying to get out there. And we're settled in the heart of Richmond, which is at the capital of Virginia. So we really figured out, we want to make an impact in our city and our campus too. So that was a great addition and character to our story. And we also have the Virginia Capitol right in our nearby, like right behind our campus. So it really helped emphasize the importance of legislation and policy and advocacy, which a lot of, is what EPH is around. But yeah, I would definitely say Ashley really helped develop a lot of the ideas, the vision. So I think it was like a bunch of just, what do you have, like what can you offer, and how can you help develop your ideas around that?
Perfect. Thank you all. Pamela, how did y'all come up with all the ideas? I know you have a very strong
Oh my
alumni.
God. So, well, in my experience, I kind of open a document, blank paper, and start writing all of these ideas. Then I made either with our president or with our president-elect, with our advisor, with multiple people, and I tell them, well, what do you think of this idea or of this other idea? And then I also think, what do you want to express? Instead of, oh, I want to impress all of these people. Well, what do you want to say? Like, what message do you want your colleagues or the other students to know? Like, I think it's more of like expressing instead of impressing. I know it sounds cliche, but it's just the truth.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Seth, I know Lipscomb has a um kind of known themes that they go around being comedy. How did y'all come up with those?
Yeah, so we have a very, I guess, different or non-traditional approach to FarmFlix, but I think it's kind of similar to what others mentioned. I mean, just kind of jotting down ideas. I think it's really important to like, if you're creating a specific FarmFlix committee, like um, having people to bounce ideas off of, and especially when you're like writing the script for it is really important. And then since we have those ideas of more kind of silly comedic aspects, you really have to keep, the student pharmacists that are in your cohort or in your program in mind, because that's exactly what we did in this last year with Harry Potter. We were like, we know someone who has to be Voldemort right now in this production, and so we intentionally sought him out for that. And it worked out really well. So like keeping in mind like the actors, that you're considering, if you're going for more of a comedic route, in order to sell, you have to, consider who you have to work with within your program and who would be interested in that. So I think it's another important aspect of making sure, the actors that you have work well for what you're planning.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you all for sharing that. So now kind of getting into a little bit more of the actual production of the video. What resources did you all use to film your videos? What programs were you utilizing? What equipment? And what do you suggest would be achievable with the resources that people have available? Right now, we'll change up the form and we'll start with Pamela.
Okay, so we used Canon camera. I know that it's pricey, but like we just had it. So yeah, I also use just my iPhone. There's with any updates, I think there's a cinematic option that is really good. So yeah, it's like I was gonna show it to you, but yeah, it's right there. And for editing, CapCut and Canva, they are complete lifesavers and they are free. So yeah, I didn't have to like make any investment.
Perfect. And we like that. We want this not to be a cost to the chapter. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Sure.
Seth, Rusha, Ashley, are those the similar kind of programs y'all utilized?
I know we used I know we used iMovie was just what I mean, I did not do in the editing, like editing. The thought of that like literally gives me hives. It's not something I probably have a good strength in. Our president last year was able to take care of that. She just kind of made it appear out of thin air. Yeah, we used iMovie, and then as far as like our filming, when our now communications VP, she helped us last year. She used a camera, but it was like a pretty like not super quality camera. But I think like an iPhone like would be just as fine. We just luckily had someone that had that resource, like our chapter didn't pay for that or anything.
Perfect. Got it.
I think for us, we have like a strong undergrad department involved in the arts, and we really wanted to like get back in the community and like make pharmacy known, just inspire others. So we kind of reached out to UC undergrad students who are interested in pursuing pharmacy, also who have interest in media, like Ashley mentioned, to just help her bring our vision to life. They help with assisting the directing and the video. So it was a collaborative effort. All in all, we wanted our video to embody last year's theme, um, and just incorporate as much as of our community as possible. We used a Sony camera to film, and for technical resources, we used the free version of a software called DaVinci Resolve to edit color and add captions for our video. For music, we used royalty-free music in the background. But yeah, we kind of like expanded out just to see like what other resources can help, and it could also help like the students that were helping us film get a little bit more exposure, but also like practice their skills. So it was a collaborative effort.
Got it. And just make sure I understood that program. What was that program that utilized?
DaVinci Resolve, I can
Div-
put it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then with that, Charles is going to ask, is there any program that you've utilized that you suggest people could do? I know we've heard Canva, we've heard iMovie, CapCut, DaVinci.
Yeah, so for my year as Comm VP, I used Premiere Pro just because that's what I had background in with Adobe products. Our past Comm VPs have used iMovie, and honestly, like Canva is so underrated for video editing. We often use that for ComCom as well. So like, and what Pamela was saying, it's free. So really utilize all your resources that you have around you for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you all for sharing that. So goes to show there's a bunch of different opportunities and different things you can play around with. You do not have to pay for any of these. Please, please, please do not have to think that you have to spend buku bucks to be able to make a good video. This was all made by creativity and just where there's a will, there's a way from a student pharmacist. And especially with this year's theme being proud to be pharmacy, we really want to encompass why you are utilizing the things you have to accomplish the goals you have. So now this lets us go to our final questions for our general questions, then we'll open up the floor for anyone else. But what challenges did y'all encounter that you want to share with our audience here so that they can help kind of preemptively work on them? We'll start with VCU.
So one of the biggest challenges we faced was not giving us enough time to edit and work on the post-production aspect. We started filming later on in the semester, and the deadline is going to be December 1st. So before everything starts picking up, I suggest that you guys kind of film as early as you can so you have more time to edit, color it, sound if you want, add captions, things like that. We also kind of decided the rules for our video on the day of. So I think definitely this year we would kind of like designate those roles ahead of time or kind of let people know so that they're able to sign up and know the expectations if they're coming to do a voiceover and things like that. So just create like a shooting schedule and maybe writing down like the locations attached to what scene we want to film at which location, just so everyone's on the same page on the actual day of filming. That can help combat any challenges, and also setting earlier deadlines with the media release consent forms.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you all. Seth, what challenges did y'all run into?
I would definitely echo that in terms of like I think we shot our video like a week before Thanksgiving, which is not the ideal time to do that. Would not recommend. It was very, very stressful in terms of everyone was really busy. So like picking a time that's like you designate the actors that are going to be involved in the production, like designate or like a specific time that's not busy in the semester, doing it right before Thanksgiving break. Everyone has like final projects and last minute exams and that sort of thing. So that was a nightmare. Would not recommend that. Also in terms of I put it in the chat, but like the consent forms is definitely kind of an afterthought for a lot or for our production that we made. And so that was kind of like a last frantic, trying to get that in. So would recommend also addressing that earlier on and making sure that everyone fills out the consent forms much earlier on. And then also just because of the timing, again, like we had issues with like communicating to all the like smaller roles, like exactly like what they needed to wear and what they needed to bring in order to film the videos. Luckily, it worked out really good. But again, we were just very last minute in our creation. So just as has been mentioned multiple times tonight, just be, ahead of the game and it'll save you in the long run.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Seth. And Pamela, what challenges did y'all face?
Well, I think for me, the biggest challenge is writing the script and making it fit the 90 seconds. It is like so hard. Like, oh, we want to say all of this stuff, but it may not fit into the time frame. So what should we remove? What should we keep? I think that is one of the hardest parts. Aside from choosing the music, like it sets the tone, the emotions that the video will give to other people. So I think those were the two most difficult like factors for me.
Got it. Well, thank you all for sharing with us. We now want to take some time to answer your questions. So if you have a question that you want to ask one of our fantastic panelists, please feel free to get off mute and ask them through that, or if you can type it up in the chat. I know we have one question while we're waiting for that. I got a question asking that once all consent forms are signed, where would you submit that? The video is submitted through YouTube, but is there a Dropbox with forms? So you'll submit the video through YouTube, but there'll be a form on the FarmFlix page where you'll send in your official submission. In there, you'll let us know your chapter, the video title, the link to the YouTube page, and then also there'll be a submission box for all of your consent forms. So you'll all be submitted through that, and that'll be the official submission. But great question. All right. When will the 2025 FarmFlix guidelines be published on the website? Next week. That'll be at the beginning of next week. Depending, we work with a web design team that's contracted, so they're offsite, so we'll send in updates, but it may take them a little bit of time just depending on what they're working on. So my goal is the beginning of next week, but it may be closer to the end of next week. It really just depends on what their timeline is. But great question. Do you have any questions for our panelists, our experts who have won that trophy and felt what it likes to be on stage, to see their video showcased and their beautiful faces on the screen, getting their movie movement, getting ready for the Emmys, you know? Yep, Alexis.
Okay, so I do have a question. So, being the fact we're all pharmacy students and we're all very busy, do y'all have any tips and tricks to help engage students to participate in the filming process? Because as a couple of you might know, I'm distance education. So me personally, I'm not on site, but we have several students who are. But I was just thinking, I guess, because we have a smaller cohort on site, what would you do? What would you suggest to help with that engagement?
Whoever had an answer.
That is a hard one. Well, in my case, when I start in the FarmFlix, the communications VP, Dr. Ashley Vasquez, she shows me as the protagonist. So we really didn't need that much people for the video. So maybe you can focus on choosing only one or two people, like to be on it, to be the main stars of the FarmFlix. So I don't, I don't know. Maybe that could be an idea, or maybe you can recruit professors or other random pharmacists from your town. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna add to that too, because that's something I thought about when preparing for this, but not necessarily like we had a lot of people in our this past production, but also thinking back to our 2 years ago, we did Barbie was like the theme, and we had a ton of people, including like faculty and students in that. And so I think kind of going off of that, like limiting the number of actors you need is really helpful. Like it doesn't have to be an over the top, like you need like everyone to do it. The less is better, which I think was mentioned as well. Just having less people, it helps schedule wise, it helps, you know, commitment wise. I mean, if there's people that really want to be involved, obviously like find a role for them. But definitely having less is better long term for the filming process for sure.
I think I would kind of pitch it as like it's a way for us to all like showcase our respective chapters. And how we pitched it at our first GBM at VCU is we basically told everyone like, oh, you know, the winner will be showcased at APHA Annual 2026, you know, live in Los Angeles. Your film will be showcased on the big screen and you'll get to like showcase your chapter and all of the work you've done to make that video.
And with that, like thinking of Purdue, who was our most humorous last year, they only had 4 members in their video. So like again, less is more can completely work. And instead of thinking of like, all right, here's a limiter, think of that as a benefit. I went to pharmacy school during the pandemic. Everyone was virtual. You had no other choice. So when we're coming up with any sort of ideas or projects, it was all through a virtual means. So maybe looking at some media that focuses on that time period, maybe those movies where it's like, oh, it's like a horror movie through a Zoom call, which I know last year's LeeCom's video was kind of like a horror theme. So maybe utilizing some of that information or like a FaceTime or something like that and utilizing those aspects as that's the quirky thing that is the revolving around the theme, as opposed to that being the limiting aspect of it. And that could go for any of the chapters who will have virtual campuses.
Yeah, and I think that the good thing with the FarmFlix is that there is no wrong thing to do. So you just think outside of the box, literally. Yeah.
Absolutely. The more creative you are, the better. And especially now, creativity is going to be showcased on its own category. So a great opportunity to become the first winner of that category. Thank you for that question, Alexis, and thank you for our panelists for helping answer that. Do you have any other questions for our panelists? In terms of who can be in the video, can other students outside of your chapter's e-board participate, or is it exclusive to e-board member only? Great question. No, this is for everyone on the chapter. Anyone can get involved. And we want you to help get our other members showcased as well. This is a great opportunity for them to get some time really getting involved into APHA programming. So please, please, please expand the love, share the love, have more people participate, as many as you want, or as little as you want. Up to you. Just give the opportunity to everybody.
And I would pitch it too as like an opportunity to kind of have like a stepping stone for leadership, because I think I mentioned it earlier, but our now communications VP was the one who actually shot FarmFlix last year, and she wasn't involved in an executive role or like a patient care chair role. And so that really like was a kind of a stepping stone for her platform to run for communications VP. So it's kind of a good like leadership springboard for a lot of students.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I'm trying to check all my messages to see if there's any other questions. Yes, which I remember that video very vividly. When University of Puerto Rico had past e-board members participate, it was a great video, and also it was very kind of tear-jerking to see the legacy that they have created there. So this is a great opportunity not only for you student pharmacists on campus, but anyone who's involved with the chapter in the past. And it's a great way for you to reconnect with people and also make everyone feel home again. So definitely think outside of the box, and maybe you utilize some of your community members as well. Alrighty. Well, I'm not seeing any more specific questions. So thank you all for attending this informational session. It's been a pleasure getting to share this information with you all. Can we please get another virtual round of applause for all of our past winners? Thank you all for taking your time to be with us this evening and share your insights and expertise. We will be posting this video on the YouTube page and on the website next week, so you can look out for that. Now, if you have any questions moving forward for the FarmFlix Video Contest, please feel free to reach out to me, Parth Patel, APHA Senior Manager of Student Development. I'd be here to help you out with any of the questions you have to get prepared for this competition. Thank you all for your time, and if you need anything, we'll be staying around a little bit longer just to answer questions, but without further ado, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you all.